didn't make the noise.
No sound. Yeah. Psst. We need to get a little MP3 sound off of the internet.
We should.
Well, hello and welcome to the Moon Underwater. I'm Kelly Daniels.
You just turned that up.
No, I didn't. I
I'm
got
Steve
it right.
Jones, and I'm
I got it
asking
right
you
this
questions
time.
around
It's
here.
daytime. We
Yeah.
have daylight savings time came and went, and is still here.
Right. Now we're in
And
daylight
so now
spending.
I can see the buttons and stuff. So sometimes we're here and it's kind of dark, and
now,
I just have to know which is right or left. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, but that doesn't really work for volume knobs.
Doesn't work in the dark.
Does not, I guess.
You can't. How can you tell?
You cannot tell righty and lefty, loosey or tighty, whatever that means.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
So,
didn't
hey,
go to engineering school, all right?
Before we get into today's topic, which is a film that we watched live in a big theater,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of fun, and we're going to get into that in a second. But I wanted to try out a new potential slogan for the podcast. You ready? Let's get this bumper sticker stuff here.
Whoa.
Maybe. We don't want to put the money in unless it's really good, right?
Okay. All right.
So, the Moon Underwater, above average bar talk.
I love it.
Well, I started off with elevated bar talk.
And really,
And
that's
I'm like
probably not true.
too salon-ish, you know, too kind of like drinking espressos, and it's just not true. It's not really that. I mean, maybe it's elevated.
Sometimes above average bar talk.
I think we're always above average because I think the average is not very high.
Well,
but I was also going to say
You mean this
best
bar or-
of bar talk.
Oh, yeah.
And every now and then we have our moments, but I can't guarantee that we're always best of. We also,
I think I have
Probably-
a feeling about today.
yeah, what about it? It's
That's
going to be a
gonna
best of.
Really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's feelings.
Because I
can't-
watched that movie with you in the back of my head going, how come this happened? That
Oh,
doesn't make
so
any
you're
sense
going
for the plot.
Oh, no, there's going to be two.
I have a giant plot hole.
This is going to be great because it's going to be me and my minion, which I have
Yeah,
trained to
you
be.
Took me way too long.
Hey, I have something else I need to ask you, though. A car question. I'm delaying the, the big show topic, but I do have a sincere car question. I have a brand new car, pretty new, like a couple months old, 3 months old, 4 months old. The back seat belt sensor deal is all fucked up and doing weird shit. So no matter where you sit, right side, left side, it thinks you're sitting in the center.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't think you're sitting on the sides, and it has one of the most annoying, like, it'll kill you on the freeway because of distraction, like warnings that there's somebody without a seatbelt on.
Yeah.
There's also a little pad that shows you which seatbelt needs to be.
Right.
So I assume I'm just going to have to bring it into the shop and say, hey, fix this. Is there like I already turned the engine on and off, and that didn't solve the problem.
You turn it on and back off again. No difference.
Nope. There's no way to just like reset the
There are
software or
settings
something.
in cars.
Yeah.
I am an avid seatbelt wearer. Let me start out by saying this.
Yeah. Okay. Because you took off the.
Because I don't have a chime in my truck because it can be disabled. And I think it's kind of gross if I'm going from the gym to home and I'm sweaty and I put the seatbelt on me because that's not going to ever be clean again. And it's all in 25-mile-an-hour roads. I'm willing to risk it.
Yeah. That seems pretty reasonable.
Or
it is funny, though, because wearing a seatbelt is one of those, like, we may have just lost 25% of our listeners because they're like, oh, my God.
Like he doesn't wear a seatbelt?
Sometimes doesn't wear a seatbelt.
Yeah,
it's almost like smoking and shooting your cigarette out the window, kind of like, or just throwing trash out your window.
No, that
used to happen.
Yeah, it did.
Like when I was a kid, like people just do that.
When we first moved to Texas, it was kind of bad. for like garbage on the side of the road, and then they started the "Don't Mess with Texas." That's where that came from.
Yeah.
It was like, don't throw your garbage outside.
Don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with Texas.
Wasn't
used it
like
for that.
We're gonna shoot you. It's
Well, it could have been
keep
that
it
too.
clean. Yeah, if you throw trash out the window, we will shoot you.
Some two meanings there.
I like that.
Yeah, so they kind of did that.
I was in a train in Mexico once. It's this great old train called the Oaxaqueño from Mexico City to
The
Oaxaca.
Oaxacan, basically.
Yeah, and there's also another, either the same train or just with a different leg of it, or maybe it was a different train. But it was from Guadalajara to Mexico City, and I took all those trains, and it was a pretty great trip. But I remember at one point I had this bag of trash because I bought, something from these vendors who come when you stop. They'll like hold up like tamales and stuff like that on little plastic bags on sticks. You grab it and throw some money down, and
that sounds fantastic.
It was fantastic. And so I had that, had a couple of beers, and I had a little bag to put all my trash in. And I'm looking for a trash somewhere on this train. And the conductor or whatever, the ticket taker guy, sees me. He goes, "Oh, I'll take that." He grabs it from me. You know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Just immediately throws it out
right
the
out the window
with this big smile on his face like,
yes, I
see
did.
Yes, si, senor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway.
So we lost another 25%. He throws his garbage right out the window. You never said you did it.
I did not do it.
Okay. All right.
No.
Allegedly.
No, I'm maligning Mexicans and saying they do that.
That's better yet.
Even better.
Perfect.
Even better.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was saying that you did it. Like me, not wearing my seatbelt. I do have a seatbelt cover.
Yeah.
So like if I'm further away, I do have that.
I just feel like I do think just choosing not to wear seatbelts and whatever, it is a public health thing. And if everybody was not doing it, it would be a big problem because our insurance rates would go up because more people are dead. No, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's not just individualism, but I also think if your story, that's your business. I think it's a calculated risk. It's frankly not a very big risk on 25-mile-an-hour roads in Iowa.
Oh, I didn't tell you how fast I was going.
You're going 125.
Right.
Well, here's the thing about if you're being dangerous, if you're on the road being dangerous, it's only logical. You want to be on the road for as little time as possible.
Exactly.
So you should go as fast as you can.
I mean, and if I were to die, maybe they could reprint me out.
Yeah,
that's a nice
right.
segue.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Made out of all the waste product of your spaceship.
That's true.
So, yeah, we watched Mickey 17, as the title of this episode has already told you.
Wait, it has? What are we calling it?
It will have.
Oh.
I don't know. I make that stuff up later. I'm the copywriter of this podcast. If you find fault with copy editing
Come
or
on
copy
this podcast and defend yourself.
Defend yourself. We had a request for a guest. I'll tell you about it later.
Oh.
Just in case we want to say no, I don't want to say it.
Oh.
This person's name on air.
Oh, then definitely not.
But but we got a request.
Wow.
Like, look at that. We're getting big time, right?
They are.
Big
time.
time.
Are they coming on to defend themselves?
No,
in some
it's
way?
not one of those. Unfortunately, those people are too cowardly.
Right.
But I think it's somebody who thinks they have something to gain from being
our notoriety
on the pod. Yeah.
Nice.
Gonna move some units of something they're selling.
All right, I'm good
So
with that.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. See how much
As long as I get free samples.
they'll pay us, or well, what do we get out of it?
Yeah.
So Mickey's 17, and it's kind of in our alley, the kind of movies we like. It's a dystopia, science fiction. We don't spend much time on Earth, but it doesn't seem like it's doing that well.
No.
It seems like the weather, little problem with the weather.
Yeah.
And people want to leave, and also kind of authoritarian government maybe, bureaucracy, and everybody wants to get off the planet. And our hero is so here's a question a concept I'm gonna throw out there right now. In a free market economy that's built on competition, just by the rules of the game, there's going to be losers, right? There's going to be big-time winners, big-time losers, and a lot of kind of you win some, you lose some. Hopefully, most people are in that middle bunch. That's probably called the middle class, or you could expand that into upper middle, and
Sure.
and that's probably a pretty good system. And we haven't quite figured out a better one yet.
Right.
We being humans, in my opinion.
Well, the alternative so far is like general misery for like 99% of the population, which sucks.
The places that seem to have really nice systems are really small groups, like your food forager types, and they're all equal, and they all just kind of like live their lives, chill. They're all pretty fit because they're walking all the time.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you need a lot of land to be a food forager. Like, a band of like 60 people need like hundreds of miles, and there's too many humans for that.
I thought you were going to go with like Finland. I'm like, yeah, they're assholes.
They are. Finland is, all those countries are free market / socialist mix, and they just have pretty robust public sphere, but also have a fair amount of free market kind of innovation and that stuff, and they're wealthy, and a lot of them seem good looking, and they're happy. They're really cold
they're
a
chill.
lot, but they're in the frozen tundra.
They are.
Those always win those happiness awards and all that.
But yeah, people here didn't seem that happy, did they?
In this movie, they seem pretty unhappy, and Mickey is Mickey 1 is one of capitalism's losers. He's just not very bright. You get that feeling, and he's kind of a screw up.
Who plays Mickey?
What is the guy's name?
It's the guy that did the recent Batman movie. I don't know his name, and I didn't look it up.
And his name is Paddington or something. Robert Patterton.
Patterson?
Sounds right.
Yep.
He was in, I recognize him from the poster of Twilight.
Oh, he was in Twilight.
Yeah, I think he was like the main good-looking vampire in Twilight.
How about that?
I didn't see it. So the people in the bar looked over here like, these guys are talking about Twilight? That doesn't seem like the right thing to talk about.
That does not. That seems like a below-average bar talk, really.
I guess to each his own.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's his name. Anyway, he's that guy.
And it was written and directed by?
By the Parasite guy.
Right, which we didn't.
Yeah. The Parasite guy is also the Snowpiercer guy. Did you ever see that?
That was a weird movie.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a cult film called The Host.
Oh.
That was his maybe first film or first major film, and it's a horror movie where about a monster that captures a little girl and the family's trying to get her out. It's kind of a martial arts sort of Asian.
That's fun.
Live action anime almost, but it's supposed to be really good. And is that it? Those are the movies.
I just know that I loved Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite was amazing.
I did not expect that. Mind blown. I'm not going to get into spoilers on that one here. We're definitely going to spoil Mickey 17.
I wouldn't mind talking about Parasite for a second since we've both seen it. There is something about it that I think is interesting and worth mentioning, and that is a lot of people took it as, it's this expose or this critique of capitalism, and it's blah, blah, blah about how terrible the system is. But I remember I watched it with my wife, and she's like, what do you mean? It's the rich people were dumb, but the poor people were complete scumbags.
They were.
And if the goal of your anti-capitalism thing is to say that poor people are the worst people on earth,
and that's why they're poor.
Yeah. Then that's a great critique, but I don't think that was what the director was going for. I think he was just telling a story.
I think so too.
And
I don't think it's anything to do with.
I mean that's the rich and poor.
Right.
That movie's about that. But the poor, this one family of poor, all the other people they take advantage of are not generally the rich people. It's other working class people.
Yes.
Other people, they take their jobs, they get them in trouble, they ruin their lives. So anyway, I thought that was a great movie. I really liked it.
I agree.
And this one is, everything else he's done has been more sci-fi. That's it's kind of over the top, but it's a serious movie. It's realism. It's realistic. And so we have, this one is sci-fi for sure, and it's a future. And just to start, Mickey gets talked into taking out a huge loan for some
loan
kind
shark.
of stupid restaurant idea, and he has his friend that takes advantage of him. Do you remember the restaurant? I forgot already. It was just some dumb concept. Instead of burger joint, it's like a some kind of like cookie or something that they have all cookies, like, and there are places like that, but whatever. The point was
it was dumb, and
and he lost all his money, and then this brutal loan shark that tortures people to death when they don't pay, and so he needs to get off the planet.
So what happens is they have to. This was actually it's a fun part of the movie, and I found the movie kind of funny. Like, there was some like.
Should we jump into our review right off the bat?
No, I'm just saying like that's just throwing it in. And this scene I found kind of funny because what's going to happen is somebody who hasn't paid and now they're 2 weeks late is going to get chopped up by a double-bladed chainsaw. And the guys who have taken out the loan, they have to sit and watch.
Yeah.
And there was something I thought that for as, my God, crazy as this guy going to get chopped up by a double-bladed chainsaw, there was something funny about the scene. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was just kind of ridiculous.
I thought the first hour of the movie was fun to watch.
Yes.
I was riveted by the plot.
Totally agree.
And it was really funny, but also really grim.
It was
managing the harshness and the humor perfectly.
I want to go through my notes as we do this because my opinion starts to change toward
the end.
Later on.
That's why I said the first hour.
Yeah.
And it definitely something just flips a little. And I
didn't think it dragged on. I didn't think it was too long.
I was wanting it to end before it was over.
Okay.
That's not a good sign for a movie. Like, no. I was like,
You're like, what are we doing here? How are you going to end this?
Yeah, and I was like, come on, let's get it over with. I just thought it started falling apart, and I can tell you, it's the plot and the tone. And
can I tell you that I wrote down? Where is it? Yeah, it was good, but by the end, I'm annoyed, and it's falling apart.
Yeah, it is. So there you go.
Yeah.
You've been...
that's it. You can stop listening now.
No, we're going to go back to... Wait, you were saying something about... Well, yeah, so they're torturing these guys, killing this guy that was late on his payment.
Right.
And for some reason... They did just let these guys kind of go and escape, but I'm not.
Well, because they're going to give them the chance to pay.
Yeah, right.
Because they're not late yet. They wanted to show them what was going to happen if they paid late.
Yeah, and so they go to this massive bureaucracy like the DMV from hell,
right?
Where they're trying to sign up to get off planet.
Really funny, and that must have been. I'm dying to know how they did it. If it was actually shot, if that was. Computer graphics, if it was like what
the building they were in, you mean?
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere.
Seems like it could just be an airport, like a big airport that they.
It was really cool. The shots were really cool.
Yeah, it looked like the future.
It did.
And there's this just absolutely horrific storm raging outside the windows.
Right.
Like, and you don't know if it's like an ice storm or a sandstorm, but whatever it is, you don't want to go out there.
You don't want to go out.
And
so they're trying to basically they're signing up to go off planet on a mission to a new planet and start a new life, right? And so everybody wants to do it.
Yeah.
And they start making mention of, somebody had kind of mentioned it earlier. Was it his girlfriend? That nobody. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that the part that I thought was really funny, and I think it's part of the trailer, is he signs up to be an expendable. There's this thing called an expendable, and that's like the one thing that you automatically get on the ship if you're an expendable. And so he just checks that box, and the woman that's the bureaucrat, the whatever, who's just she looks up at it. He goes, "An expendable?" He goes,
Have you read
You did read the form, didn't you? And he goes, yeah. And you could tell immediately that he hadn't.
And then, that I probably should have read it. Right?
Yeah. And he signs up to be an expendable. And then we learn what it is he's going to be used as a human test object.
Right.
And they're going to download his memories in his brain, his intelligence, his personality into some kind of a computer hardware.
It was a brick.
It was a brick, yeah. It was a red brick with some wires on it. And he's wired into that. He's downloaded into that. And his body just gets reprinted in a 3D printer from all the waste product.
All the crap of the ship.
Yeah, all the extra food and the dead bodies and everything is just basic carbon material, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then it gets printed back up into him. And so he can't die, which is absurd on the face of it. I mean, there is a philosophical discussion to be had about what we are
and what would it be like to live forever?
Well, there's that, but also, are we the same? If we just get a new body that looks just like ours and our same memories and stuff are in that body, are we the same person?
Well, can I tell you that Arnold Schwarzenegger then wants his movie back? Because that movie was called Eraser. And
I never saw that.
It wasn't good.
Oh, okay.
But it was, person who's been cloned, because that was the big, now... we just print a person in this movie. But they clone somebody, and they rapidly age them to exactly who they are now, and they give them the same memories.
And then they kill the original?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If they make a perfect copy of mine and then implant all my memories and stuff in that and then kill me...
Is it you?
I'm still dead, man. I mean... Here's how I think about it. Now, we don't know what happens after we die, but... Let's just say this is just a kind of pretty plausible act. It just goes dark, and the lights don't come back on.
Yeah.
If there's a new me that's a body made from different material, and then my memories and stuff are put in that body, and then I'm killed, it gets dark for me. I do not come back to light in the other body.
You really thought about that.
There's a new... Yeah, I did. Have you heard the thing about Star Trek?
Is it really them? What
they say is that when they get decomposed or whatever, and then they come back together, when they do the teleportation onto the planet, what they're doing is they're just creating a new copy of them on the. That's like the only way that system could work. Some nerd wrote.
Well,
and then so they're basically getting killed every time. And then a new version of them that doesn't know that the last one will be killed.
Right.
So, and the movie makes it clear that each Mickey is its own
and he's brand new
thing. Yeah.
Because different things happen when they're making him. For example, they show one of the guys tripping over new Mickey as he's getting his memory plugged in.
Quite get that, because he isn't the same each time.
Right.
But he's also each one is an individual that like if there's a soul, let's do the other, like everything just goes dark. How about we do have an immortal soul? That soul goes to an afterlife, heaven or hell or purgatory or whatever. Does that soul going to just slide into the new copy that they make? I wouldn't think so.
I'm going to go with yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
So God, the creator of the universe and humans that planted
God's got
souls,
a lot going on.
is just going along with this plan with ours.
God's busy. All right. God's like, all right, you got a new body. Fine. You can go.
So he doesn't want to take 17 souls.
I don't think so.
He's just going to use the other.
Yeah.
That kind of mean, okay.
And
it does seem more efficient, but it also seems like God is sort of, in that version, is really just allowing us
God's been replaced
to pull too much shit.
Yeah.
Like I think it like all that New Old Testament God is a jealous God. I think he would be like, no,
nope, not having any of it.
Not letting you get away with this.
All the
copies are not going to have souls like animals. and only the first one has a soul, and it goes to wherever it goes.
I think it stays with, but then, of course, there's the duplicate problem. I forget what they called it.
Yeah, you make two of them.
Yeah.
And, and then there was a whole issue with the duplicate. They have a backstory, which I liked a lot, is some psychopath tech lord who looked just like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was a little too on the nose.
What do you think about the movie making its characters pretty easy to attach to real world
Didn't
people?
Mind it until the end.
Didn't what?
I did not mind that it was doing that.
But at the end,
until
you didn't
it's
like it.
For real, are we still doing this?
Yeah. I just thought the ending wasn't great.
It did not
in
end
general.
well. No.
It just kind of, but there are other problems besides that. And it's not like it was doing one-to-one.
No.
Well, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Is Mark Ruffalo, who I love.
Yeah. So you say Ruffalo. I say Ruffalo.
Ruffalo. Maybe you're probably right. Ruffalo. Whatever.
Well,
I know I've heard it said a lot of times, but it's
I've heard Ruffalo before, though.
Ruffalo.
Yeah.
It's slip him a roofie.
Right, I was going to say.
A roof.
How do you suppose?
So
maybe that was his nickname in college. That's not good.
If he becomes like the Bill Cosby, they're going to call it.
Saw it coming.
They're going to slip me a Ruffalo.
Right.
That'll be a thing.
It will be.
That guy is pretty interesting. I heard him on a long interview with Terry Gross, Fresh Air. And I find Fresh Air really hard to listen to quite often.
Okay.
And I just have to say I've gotten very, very tired of Terry Gross's kind of robotic personality.
I don't even know who he is.
Terry Gross is a woman.
Oh.
NPR.
She is. Well, there you go.
Fresh Air, NPR. She's been around forever. Anyway. So we're not going to have best of bar talk.
I misgendered her. Do I get canceled?
It's awful. I don't know. I think she's a lesbian, so she probably would be all right with it.
Possibly get canceled.
Should I? I don't know. Am I assuming lesbians are okay with being misgendered? That's probably cancelable right there.
Probably.
Anyway, sorry about that, everybody.
Well, you know where Mark Ruffalo is from?
Don't tell me. New Jersey.
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Okay. Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yep. Nice suburb of Chicago, not Milwaukee.
So he's a pretty interesting guy, pretty cool guy, and he was a kind of regular person. Went to L.A. to become an actor, like so many people. Took him a while, but he recently, right when he was getting really famous and starting to get rich, and like bought his first like expensive house because even really regular houses in L.A., as we know, are really expensive. Yeah. And he just assumed everything, the money was going to keep going in. And then he got, what the heck happened? He got really sick. Or, oh man, I'm so sorry. I don't remember the details of what happened to him. But he like had a stroke or something. But his face wasn't working. Like he couldn't move the muscles of his face afterward, and he'd lost his hearing, and one of his ears he's completely deaf in.
What is it? There's a virus that
sounded like something like that, but he wasn't sure if he would ever get his facial ability. You can't be an actor when your face is like, slack. And
it's called something palsy. It can affect your eye, like ear, hearing. I'm a doctor.
I think
that's the takeaway here.
I am a doctor.
You are.
Steve Jones.
It's true.
Mere bachelor.
Two of them, thank you.
Two bachelor, double bachelor.
Double bachelor.
Nice.
Look, I looked at the Masters. I went, no, that's not for me.
Double bachelor is 8 years worth of graduates or post high school.
6 total.
But
because Augustana transferred all my credits from Iowa, so I just had to go for.
But you got 2.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. I'm not so elevated that I scoff at the mere bachelor's degree.
I do, and I have. That's it. That's all I have.
This is how lame I am. I listened to the Chronicle of Higher Education podcast.
That's pretty lame.
And this one is that I kind of love this story. There's this huge decline in enrollment in one particular demographic group, white people.
Yeah.
And it was like a black reporter wanted to kind of look into enrollment decline. He's like, oh, yeah, well, as a black guy, I was like, I'm going to look and see how minorities, they're always going to be the worst of everything. He's like, but the data wasn't checking out.
Oh,
and then he goes, no, white people are all like just not going and getting. So,
fentanyl.
Whitey is just not.
Fentanyl. I'm going with that.
Fentanyl is just killing them, or just they're too stoned to go to school.
All of the above.
And there's been a lot of like, you should just become a plumber, electrician. I think that's true.
Yeah.
But I will also warn, there may be room in the plumber electrician world, but it's not infinite.
There is an amazing South Park episode where people that have skills like they're a plumber or an electrician, they become ultra rich because nobody knows how to do anything for themselves.
Yeah.
And they're just like handymen and it's one of the last few seasons.
That's the kind of dystopia / utopia where people that really matter finally get paid.
Yeah.
And like professional performers like go hungry because anyway.
Exactly.
Athletes.
So can I point something out?
Yes,
we like this movie so much that we've spent not a whole lot of time talking about it so far.
But isn't that something we talked about this off air, and that we were sticking a little too slavishly to the plots of our things we talk about, and we're like summarizing plots. I'm like, gosh, that's boring. And
this is easy to not do that with.
Yeah, and we'll get back to it.
I was just laughing because it
is funny
because it started out so good. It really did.
But Mark Ruffalo, I'm going to say Ruffalo.
Please do.
And he was really, really funny when the camera is just looking at him, and he is we'll just call it a Trumpy kind of.
And he's doing the lips.
He's doing this lip. He isn't. He doesn't play it. He's not doing a Trump impression by any means.
Not until the end.
He does it. He changes.
It definitely changed.
He changes, but also the character. The joke of the character is he's a supposed tough guy, but his wife tells him what to do.
Yes.
He can't do anything without her telling him what to do, and so I don't think the writers were trying to say, "Hey, let's just put Alec Baldwin doing his SNL."
I agree. Yep.
But I think that Ruffalo and the story just lost. They just lost the sense of who this guy was. Also, so that character and the wife, it got super, super wacky, and it reminded me, especially her thing with the sauce.
Oh, that
reminded
was
me
weird.
of Brazil. And you think back to Brazil, like all the weirdness, just the creepiness and the dirtiness. It got like that. Those characters were like that, but also the total absurdity. But the rest of the movie was a little bit wacky, but not
like that.
It was like plausible. I'm like, I could see this
Exactly.
being a future thing. But those characters were not. They were just out there.
They were caricatures.
They really were. And I was getting sick of them, and they were getting more and more kind of screen time.
That's the problem.
I thought they were good. If he was just there every, like a couple minutes
scenes
here and there, and he's just in the background. But then he just kind of took over, and I didn't think it worked. I was like wanting... And he became more and more of a villain instead of just a doofus. I loved him as a doofus.
The doofus was really funny.
But him being this like psycho, cruel sadist, and it felt preachy at that point. And they're killing this little alien creature that's obviously very cute.
The creeper.
They call them the creepers.
He calls them creepers, which I sent you a picture of
that's
a
right.
license plate this morning that was creepers.
Creepers.
I called them critters in my notes because I just like the word critter because I think it's kind of funny.
Critter is also cuter, but they wanted to make it like they were
creepers. And they were kind of, they looked like, roly-poly bugs, little potato bugs. They look like them.
Yeah.
But like up close and giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were nice.
Apparently.
Turns out
I don't know what they were eating.
And also the Mickey 17 learns how to speak their language, which is like clicks and hums.
Yeah, and
so at first he just starts
noises.
making the noise that they make, and they like him, and they kind of save him. So yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go back? Or I think we're just kind of covering different points. We should probably just give an overview of the plot.
Well, so they show up on the planet. Can I go there?
Yeah, there's something else. On the way there, they spend a lot of time on this ship to get to the planet. I was talking to my friend. I always talk about good old Professor Blozer.
Blozer.
And he's into sci-fi big time.
Yeah.
And like the idea of colonizing another planet, the closest one is Alpha Centauri.
Yes.
And it's like if we get almost the speed of light, it'll take 10,000 years for a ship to get to it.
God damn it.
And I'm like, I don't know if we need to necessarily pursue this project. It seems kind of
for now
out of our grasp.
Yeah, for now. Like, maybe if we start having a lot longer lifespans.
So did they break the speed of light? I guess they must have, because it didn't take them 10,000 years to get to this planet that has
like 2 or 3 maybe.
2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like that. So here's one of my questions I have about it. So Mickey 17 is by far and very kind of clearly the lowest ranking person on this ship. He is the expendable, and he has all these babes that are after him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I know human nature. And human nature does not mean all the best, highest value females go chasing after and fighting after the lowest status male
the scum.
Just don't. I will not believe that even in the future. And here's where I think the movie gets it wrong and why it gets worse and worse. Because it's adaptation of a novel. And I think in a novel, a good novelist or even a mediocre novelist can explain why all these women are interested in this guy that you wouldn't think.
Sure.
All you have to do is come up with some reason, and readers will go, oh, okay, I get it.
Can I say
the movie doesn't do
horse
it, though.
cock and baby nuts.
Yeah, right.
So it looks even bigger. Sorry.
I like that. Here's, when I was living back in the California days, somebody once was telling me how male porn stars, did I mention this before?
No, but
they get nut tucks, to kind of pull their nuts up because they hang too low. It doesn't look good, right? But they kind of get them to where they keep up high and tight, so it's more photogenic and also kind of makes the meat look meat look better. More.
No, that's terrible.
I don't know. It's like
That's
on a summer day, you kind of just happen to kind of see yourself in the mirror, and you're like, little nut tuck would not hurt.
Sounding so bad.
It would not hurt the aesthetics of the moment. Let's just say so. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh no.
So anyway,
Are we on the planet now?
But he has 2 babes, and and I kind of, and one of them is really into him, and she's a badass, and I didn't understand the second woman who is a lesbian, maybe bisexual, but
that
she's
later,
into him.
Right?
But she even on the
she
ship on the way,
she's
already hitting on him, and the other one's fighting, getting jealous.
Yeah.
So that whole plot that plays out, I just never quite understood it, and I didn't quite get the love story angle.
Because you need one, probably.
Yeah, I think like I said, in a 300-page novel, that would be a big part of the novel, and you would learn it. They would have all these you would get to know the characters. you just don't get that in a 2-hour movie that also has all this world building and all this political intrigue and all this action, and there's just too much.
Okay.
And that's why I think the movie falls apart at the end. And also there's like a major plot point. It's a full-on Deus Ex Machina that comes in at the end and saves the day with characters we've never met before. They just show up.
Yes.
And it made no sense. And it pissed me off, kind of, I have to say.
All right, so I got one that pissed me off.
All right, let's hear what pisses me off.
So Mickey's going down, like, they start out with Mickey 17 not looking so hot, right?
Yeah.
And it looks
so
like...
we haven't even got... Okay, do you want to just go to that and then we'll back up?
Yeah, and then we'll back it up.
All right,
and it looks like, they come down, they're there, he thinks they're there to rescue him, but the guy that's there to rescue him is like, look, they're just going to print you out again tomorrow.
The guy that's going to rescue him is the same guy. Did you know that? That's the same guy that set him up with the loan shark.
Oh, I didn't notice.
That's his buddy that's always taking advantage of him.
Well,
so he just decides not to
save him, and he comes down, and he's 3 feet above him, and he's like, this is how far the line goes, and they're just going to reprint you anyway, and we're good, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And then these critters show up. Yeah. Right, and they're like, oh, everybody's kind of freaking out.
They're these giant, like,
mean-looking bugs.
Yeah.
That he's...
The big one, here's one thing I love, though. The big one just, like, stumbles and falls down.
Yes.
Like, very clumsily.
Yeah.
And then lands on him.
On top of him.
But it's pretty clear that it didn't mean to do that.
Right.
Like, that it is... And that's where the movie is signaling...
Something's happening.
Oh, these things are not... like the super monsters that we're used to.
Right.
And I like that, actually, that the thing stumbled. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, and then the critters, as I was calling them, they get all together and they put him out and they like set him outside.
Yeah.
And he's yelling back and saying,
I'm good.
I'm good meat.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. Now, while he was down there, his friend asked him a question. And he talks about it in a number of different places in the movie. And his friend says, "Hey, I just got to ask you something.
What's it feel to
like
to die?
Like to die?"
Yeah.
And do you know that is the biggest fucking plot hole in the entire goddamn movie?
That he doesn't answer? Or
no,
what?
how could he answer? He doesn't remember.
Yeah.
His memories, if he's alive for more than a week, are uploaded at some point in time. But it's not like, oh, he dies, he remembers how he died and how awful it was. I don't think he knows what it's like to die. And that really fucks up that movie.
Oh, my gosh.
I want my money back, Kelly Daniels.
Nice one.
Or
I didn't even
I'm totally wrong.
I didn't catch that. No, it didn't explain
there
how
was
often...
There was a comment that they did it, but it wasn't like every second of every day is still recorded.
No, it wouldn't be. And they can't... And they're not even retrieving his body often. And even if they do, they're not pulling his memories from his dead brain.
Yep.
Yeah, he would go back to a factory setting.
That's you in my head being like, well, how does he do that? He can't even do that.
You know what? The apprentice is surpassing the master.
Yes.
You're going to become this absolutely insufferable asshole who
never be able to
has
watch
a problem
again.
with everything. And you're like, and I'm going to try to like tame the beast. And you're like, oh, you're going to be too big. And
I love it. But I'm watching it. I'm like, how does he know? Why would he know? He doesn't. His memories aren't still there. He's dead.
Yeah.
And they haven't. Like, there's a gap there. That's a data thing. That's a data guy assessment of that. It's like, well, you died here. And you uploaded here and you died here. What happened in between? You're never going to remember that. So you have no idea what it's like to die.
And that's why we have a data guy on this podcast.
Right. That's the only reason, really.
It's just you just finally said no.
Finally.
No,
well,
you also knew. You also knew about the title of the life cycle of software objects.
Yeah, I was dealing with life cycle objects today. Not.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, not software objects,
But objects, huh?
items.
Items.
Yeah, objects are my world and like the system I normally work on. The one I'm working on now.
So you
items.
like objects better than items?
Object is like very.
Just, I just want to kind of ring the bell there. A truck with railroad.
Big one.
It was not a railroad car, but like just a pickup truck kind of thing, work truck. But they put these little railroad wheels on the truck, so they're on the railroad, but they're regular wheels.
That would be handy.
It would be nice.
I could use that on my truck.
Drive on the rails?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Can I go 80?
You
Probably
could go
not.
pretty fast, I think, at high speed, rail.
We don't have high-speed rail.
No, we do not. Somebody told me that there's one that kind of barely accounts for it. The Acela line from...
I was going to say the monorail at Disney doesn't count.
No, it doesn't go very fast. It's cool looking.
It is.
No, we do not have that.
What's that
Lamentably.
word? Monorail. Simpsons did a great episode with.
They built a monorail.
They did.
Have you been to Detroit?
Yeah.
Have you been on their little subway thing or their elevated train?
No.
It is really sad. It goes around in this little block, in this little square around the downtown, and it's free. They don't even they don't try to
bother.
It doesn't go anywhere. But also, when I was there last, they had made all the
Detroit's
public.
pretty awesome, right?
But Detroit's kick-ass and weird. And
I do dig Detroit. I like it.
But this little train that just goes around in a square with 4 stations or something, one on each corner.
Yeah.
And you can walk to any of them pretty easily. It's not. It's just this
ableist.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I am kind of
got him.
I am guilty
Me too.
as charged.
Yeah, I know.
Guilty as charged. But anyway, and I remember going on it when it was newer, and it was kind of nice, and it was just like a little tourist thing. And I went there fairly recently, and it is smells strongly of piss.
Oh.
And every now and then a tourist gets on it, but mostly it's just kind of lurksters, just hanging around the station, hanging around in the cars. And it's not manned or anything, so it's just this automatic thing that goes around in a circle or a square. Anyway, how did we get on to
I don't know. I am eyeballing the Detroit Marathon for next year.
Hey, do it. Do it.
I've heard that you actually cross the bridge into Canada, do 6 miles in Canada, and come back. And I'm like,
nice.
I want to do that.
There's a little, if I remember right, there's a little island between Canada and Detroit, on that little spit of, that
Ambassador
water.
Bridge there.
What is that? It's like a little, it's Lake Erie, but then there's it's Lake Erie.
It's got to be Lake Erie.
But there's this trippy little island, and anyway, let's give a shout out to Detroit.
Detroit, man.
I spent some time there. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I rode my bicycle in from Pontiac.
Oh, cool.
And all that, 8 Mile, the movie.
It's a real thing.
Oh, yeah. Every road is each mile from the center.
From the center.
Yeah. So he's 8 miles out of the center.
Yeah.
Good old. And I love the movie 8 Mile.
I've seen it once. I remember really liking it.
It's really good, but
I was not an Eminem fan at all.
It's really good. I'm an Eminem fan, I guess. I mean, I don't own his records or anything, but that movie was really good. But it was also really celebrated by people of all types, and including very progressives and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so you guys are getting behind this movie about the one white guy that goes into the rap contest and beats the fuck out of all the black guys at the one thing that undeniably they do better.
Cultural appropriation at its finest is what I would say. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's
a good movie,
fun.
though.
Yeah.
I mean, but he is the underdog in it. I mean, he really is. He's the guy that's getting. So, anyway, where were we?
We were at the plot hole that I just pointed out.
That's a good one.
Gigantic plot hole.
I like it, but it's one that nobody knows except data guys.
I know.
So, okay, so you didn't. We wanted to go back in the plot because they don't know how we got there. Well, it was fun watching all the ways he died.
Up through, I think they took us all the way up through 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just put him out in the atmosphere, and they go, just breathe in deeply. Just imagine there's a bunch of like viruses going into your lungs, and
he gets gonna breathe in,
and he gets all these viruses, and he dies, and then they create a vaccine based on his.
But they kill him a number of times.
A whole bunch of times, and then they also test all kinds of gas on him. They're just weapons.
They send him out to do a spacewalk, but they don't actually put radiation shielding on him, and they just want to know how he's feeling.
Yeah.
Like what it's like to die of radiation poisoning.
Yeah, his hand falls off.
Yeah.
Just because it breaks, I guess?
No, there was a thing spinning above him.
Oh, okay.
And he reaches his hand up, and all of a sudden his hand's chopped off, and it's floating away, and it's funny.
It is funny because he gets reprinted, but also, and I feel like we feel like he is just coming back to life. Mm-hmm. But I really do think the logical conclusion to that whole thing is that no, each one of him that dies is dead forever. It's just they make a copy with a computerized memory of who he used to be. Like, and, it's just kind of, so anyway, we get to watch all that. It's kind of fun. And how poorly everybody treats him is kind of a grimly funny. Right. But then then what? Then he lives.
Well, he lives.
Yeah.
And
so number 17 lives, and they print number
18. They print 18.
They print 18, and that's a
dun dun dun.
That's a big crime. And then they do that flashback where the Mark Zuckerberg turns out to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
And he keeps printing. He's the one that invents it. And he keeps printing extra versions of himself so he can keep doing his serial killing, but then keep doing it even though they keep catching him and jailing him.
Right.
And then so
it was basically Mark Zuckerberg with black hair.
Yeah.
Is how he looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg is interesting. His latest look, I would have to say, is
the chain.
Is Russian gangster chic. He
right?
just decided, the chain.
Big gold chain.
The gold chain and a tracksuit and the curly hair. Yeah. He just is like,
I feel like the kids are kind of dressing like that these days.
I guess so. But,
yeah.
So, that's kind of, and then he becomes, and then, so 17 and 18 are completely different. 17 is really meek and sweet.
And he's got a funny voice. He kind of talks like this.
Yeah.
And then 18 is like, what the fuck are you on about? Like
he is a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's mean.
Yeah.
And he's not, he
I
immediately
like Mickey
decides.
18.
Mickey 18 wants to kill Mickey 17 immediately. It's so
he's
great.
Like, I can take care of this. You should be dead. I thought that like him in the same scene with himself, which we're seeing more of, that was in the previews, which I'm like, that's a way to save money. Put one actor in two roles.
Yeah.
There was the Robert De Niro movie. He's going to be in two.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
18, and so you caught that subtlety that the reason 18 is different, and it turns out others of him were different. But because the people that are printing him make little mistakes.
They're making mistakes like they're not. So
they're
to me, it was like he's falling on his head. They showed that a couple times when he was coming out. One was when they had him plugged in to like receive the memories,
and
the
they
guy
trip
trips
over the yeah. That's pretty funny.
So,
but I also feel like it would have worked for me, maybe even better philosophically, if it's just like they're just different. Like, they just each were their own thing because there's this element of chance that changes who we are. And, I mean, siblings who have the same genes and who have had the same upbringing can end up incredibly different.
Tell me about it.
And
I have two totally different kids.
Yeah.
That are, I mean, like, I can't believe we had the one, and then the second one. I'm like, where'd the second one come from? Like, you're totally different. You're just
I've
our
heard
own
that.
thing.
Yeah, I've heard that people have more than one kid that they're surprised at how. And one of them you hate and want to get rid of, and the other one you're like, gosh.
Totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say it here, but I'll tell you when we're done.
I got a pretty good idea.
I bet you do. Oh, God.
Whatever
Come
I just
on
said.
this show and defend
yeah.
yourself, you coward.
Coward. Yeah.
That's still funny, by the way.
It is funny.
It is. Smoking kills.
Smoking
Also
kills
still funny.
and life's a nard. We've got,
We got our stuff.
Yeah.
We do.
So Mickey 17 and 18, eventually, it's kind of, I don't know, some of the things are funny, at least to talk about.
It's still good when they're together.
So I like that his girlfriend wants to have a threesome with two of them, and she's totally turned on.
That was really
and
funny.
The nice one is like not into it, but the other one's like, come on.
He's like, come on, let's go.
Let's hit this shit. And the girlfriend's into it. I think
the 80-year-old woman that was like about 10 seats down from me was not into it.
No.
I just thought how awkward that was.
Just because she was 80?
Yeah. She could have been a
that's ageist.
freak.
That
in
is
the 60s, I
ageist.
guess.
You know what? One thing I will not stand for on this podcast is ageism.
Well,
all
the other isms.
Yeah,
we're good.
Ageism.
But
well, I'm
ageism.
just so on the. I'm already experiencing it.
Fuck
and
you
it's-
very much.
It's only
Yeah,
going to get better.
it is
It's only going to get worse.
It's true.
That only goes in one direction. But you didn't think the oldie liked the threesome with the.
I just couldn't imagine. I was like, this doesn't
I
seem like
don't
that kind of
know.
movie. Maybe they want to tap out here.
My friend Gregory Flail from Atlanta, he said something so funny once. He took his class. I knew him from Georgia State University.
Oh, yeah.
He took his class to the library to learn about how to use the library search system and all
This
that.
is a library. It was Georgia. Oh, my God. That was so amazing.
Wait, I don't get it.
This is a library. I mean, it was Georgia. Like, people are dumb. They don't.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Come on,
that's what's
Georgia.
weird.
Come on this show and defend
yourself, Georgia. Deep South.
You coward.
All of the Deep South can come on this show
and
defend yourself because you're all the same.
Wow.
But Gregory brings his class down to the library, and this really old librarian is giving them the little thing about how to use the long time ago the card catalogs. And even the computer searches were pretty different than now. And she's asking the class, like, hey, let's come up with a subject. And the class was like too nervous to say something. So my friend Greg said sex. And he's a graduate student, and kind of a cool guy.
I've had it before.
Probably likes the ladies, as far as I knew. And she said, okay, sure. But when you do the initial search, you have to kind of put up a second, to narrow. Oh, I got 600. You want to kind of narrow that down. So let's put a second term. How about sex and she looked at him, seniors.
Oh, my God. Is that amazing?
It is amazing. And Gregory was telling the story. He's like, you mess around with a librarian, then they will mess around back. And
that is fantastic. I love it.
Yep. So don't underestimate the olds.
Oh, well.
So anyway, we're...
the sex scene
So the sex
had some very... The music was amazing. It was like real sexy piano.
Nice.
To the point where I wrote it down, and I was writing things down in the dark. But look at that! I was taking my phone out.
I know that was annoying, but there was nobody else in this giant theater. But you had your phone out to see, or were you texting?
No, I was
yourself?
to see.
Okay.
I was going like this and then writing.
It was working.
Yeah.
If I wanted a one of those pens with a light, I think it would give about the same amount of light.
And the movie was okay. So it was a dark movie.
Yeah.
Like There wasn't.
You notice I don't have my notes with me.
I noticed.
I looked through them,
wondering if they were any good.
I mean, I could read them, but they were meaningless to me. And I don't know. I feel like when I'm reading a book, when I'm watching at home, I take kind of real notes.
Yeah.
But in the movie theater, I've just not. I mean, there's like popcorn.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
It is fun. I love going to the movie.
Me too.
And
nobody was there.
Nobody was there. It was huge screen.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. And it's those
XD. I don't know what that means.
XT?
The XD is the
D.
You were going to see an extra D.
Extra D.
Extra. That's what I thought. Oh, God.
We already talked about that once. It's like the third time and it'll become true, you know, the nut tuck and the big D. XD.
So the question I have, so as we're going through this, there's various things that are starting to get more ridiculous, and where I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this is where I think the shark was like they were
getting jumped
over the shark.
Okay.
At that, like they were like like.
Did you ever see that Happy Days episode
I didn't like Happy Days as a kid. I kind of missed it. My sister watched it, and I was always annoyed. I'm like, why is she watching this show from the 50s? Because I thought it was actually from.
In the event that we have any young listeners, even though Steve's always insulting the millennials. But,
I am.
You know, but maybe they like it. Some people like that kind of stuff. That's challenge.
Right.
And if you don't like it... You know what you can do.
Come on this fucking podcast and defend yourself, you coward.
But it's, Jump the Shark was the final episode of Happy Days, which is this nostalgic 1950s sitcom from when I was a little kid, and you were probably seeing reruns of it, and maybe I was seeing reruns.
Ron Howard was in it.
Ron Howard was the little kid, and he was.
He was older.
Yeah, he was a grown-up there, but like a 20-year-old or teenager or something. But and then Fonzie, the cool guy on the motorcycle and all that with a leather jacket. What's that?
Played by
Henry Winkler.
There it is.
Henry Winkler.
And do you know that there is a bronze Fonz in Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Nice.
To commemorate that character.
Yeah, that's right. It took place in
Milwaukee?
Milwaukee. That's
I don't
awesome.
know. But so anyway, the last episode.
So I heard, I need to go here for a second. I heard that Henry Winkler, when he went to audition for the role of the Fonz, he wasn't known, he wasn't famous or anything, he was nobody. And he's not like a badass looking guy.
No.
He's just like a little skinny guy. Great in Barry, by the way. I love Barry.
Barry's a good show.
Such an amazing show. Underrated. People don't talk about it being one of the great ones with Breaking Bad and The Wire and all. I mean, it's different from those. It's funny.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. I just think the writing of it and all of the seasons are amazing. It doesn't have a bad season, in my opinion.
I would recommend, for something not similar, but still good, Last Man on Earth.
Okay. I'd like to watch that. I'll see.
Really funny.
I'll check it out. All right.
Really funny.
I like funny. I like
really
to laugh.
Funny. Yeah.
So Henry Winkler, he goes to the audition, and he's supposed to to show the Fonz vibe. He's supposed to walk up to the mirror and then comb his hair.
Yeah.
He's a greaser, right?
Yeah,
he's got a comb in his back pocket.
He's got the DA, the duck.
Yeah, the duck, and he walked up to the mirror and he was going to do it, but then he just had this instinct at the last minute. He pulls the comb out and he's about to comb it, but then he just looks at himself and he's so perfect. He doesn't comb his hair and he goes, hey. Yeah. And he's like, he just got the gig right there. I love that.
Unfortunately, he jumped a shark, and it was the point where
he did.
We still use the term "jumping the shark" as
so he
this
does
is where shit went off the rails.
It was just such ski
in Hawaii.
Ski jumping, not ski jumping, but water ski jumping was like this little weird trend.
Yeah.
And he had to jump over like a shark in a pen. And he had his leather jacket on.
He did.
And it was just...
It looked really cheesy and
beyond
fake.
Stupid.
Yeah, it looked really fake.
And they weren't even playing it for laughs. They were playing it for, like, drama.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, jumping the shark. So, anyway, what happened when they jumped the shark?
There is a rock that has been brought in. The geologists say we have to have it.
Yeah.
Because it's so perfect, it's huge, it's whatever.
Yeah,
they bring in the rock, and then Mark Ruffalo's character, they're going to cut the rock open to carve. They're going to say, we're going to carve people's names on the rock. And as they cut the rock open, they see it. Oh, yeah, there's some little holes in the rock, just, whatever. And then all of a sudden, there's creepers coming out of the holes.
Just one.
Well, there's, yeah.
Oh, is there two?
There's another one later.
And but is it from the same? No, I think they capture one of them.
They do.
But they're both from the rock?
At least two, because they kill one.
Yeah, okay.
So this is the point. Because the other plot hole is, I'm sorry, where are the holes on that rock to where that critter could get in? And there were, of course, no holes in the rock.
And also, why didn't the critter get out if there was a hole?
Right.
Because...
they're cutting it open.
But also, yeah, like, if it's getting kidnapped...
Right.
Then the thing would
go.
just leave.
Right.
Because that's what it would do.
Thank you. Now you've given me more fuel.
More reason why this is such bullshit.
Wait a minute. Why would it stay there when it was just... And the other critters wanted it back. So now they start a critter war.
That's what it is.
It's a critter war.
There's a million critters out there.
Swarming.
They're swarming.
And the weather didn't look much better than Earth, I'm going to point out.
No,
Very
this
cold.
is not a very good planet to go to.
No. And so...
which is kind of a joke in itself.
Right.
That whole idea going, 10,000 light years away.
To go to a shithole.
To go to a place that's not as good as the place that you left.
Yeah,
and so, anyway, like colonizing Mars, it sounds fun in a science fiction-y way. But why would you go to the place where you can't
leave
breathe?
home?
Why? No, I want to leave home. Like if I happen to, you're kidding.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, why would you leave home?
Have you seen Total Recall? 3 boobs. Enough said.
That's a good idea.
I mean, what? Do you not want to go to Mars now?
If 2 is good, then 3 is better.
Easily? Yeah.
That's Aristotle.
I don't know if that made it into the remake.
Aristotle said that.
If 2 is good, 3 is better?
Not exactly, but he said...
he said it more Greek than that.
He has this collection of speeches that he gave that is collected as a book called On Rhetoric, and it's not about philosophy or anything. It's about what people will believe and how to convince them of things.
I think I had to read that at Iowa or something from it.
Well, On Rhetoric is a really thick book, and it's really hard, but... yeah,
I took a lot of English classes, believe it or not.
This is not English, but it's philosophy, probably.
I took that too.
Yeah, you might have. I'm
both
sure.
In EPB, I might add, English Philosophy Building.
Nice.
Named it after nobody.
Nobody. Yeah, nobody was willing to pony up the money, or they just had enough money. They're like, nah, we like it. English philosophy.
We're not for sale.
But what he said is that. There's this whole kind of list of things that aren't true that people will believe. And one of them is, if a thing is good, then more of that thing is better. And if you think about that, people do believe that.
They do.
And if you think about it for 2 seconds, you realize it's completely not true.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that was
good
agree. Old Aristotle.
Okay. So
that's an elevated bar talk.
So what happens, what happens here is that
that's my nickname
the
for
duplicates, I forget if they call them the duplicates.
I think they do.
All right.
Duplicates.
They put them in bomb vests. And then they're going to send them out to go deal with the critters, and they need to cut off the tails to make the sauce.
This stupid sauce, I mean,
it's
just
pretty
so
lame
dumb
connection.
At that point.
That being a thing isn't amazing.
No. Like, her thing is about making sauces. And his thing, that's the wife of the It's Frances McDormand, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought,
She's a great actress. Yeah, great actor. But it was just those characters were just this over the top kind of silliness, and I don't know. Oh, here's the part that I just was so. The bad guys are clearly the leader and his wife, and they're just really psychos.
And it's right here at the end where he goes full Trump mode.
He goes full Trump, and then all of a sudden, these like soldiers who weren't even part of the movie, like all of a sudden, they give us this little tiny kind of preemptive thing where one of them is like recording everything with these secret glasses that have like a recording, have a camera on them. And then the guy's like, "You're under arrest. We've been recording all these abuse. You've been abusive." And I don't know if they were trying to be satirically funny, like almost like you're being verbally abusive, so we're going to put you under arrest when we're in this kind of dystopian world where they're, like verbally abusive. Is this a joke? If it was, it didn't really land.
Right.
But also, who are these people and why are they solving our main character's problems like at the very end of the movie by arresting this guy? Right. And anyway, it was
the end fell
disappointing.
Apart. The end fell apart.
Yeah.
The last act, I would say, the third act, I thought was like, they needed to get it out. I don't know.
It's just like
the first two were so good. Like I thought it started great.
It did.
It was great, and then I was like,
the script.
It's good.
It was the script. Is that they whoever adapted it from the novel to the script just didn't do it right. It just didn't. They let the end have all of the plot twists that would have been set up in a novel, but that were not mentioned at all, and then they just brought them in at the end.
Is that a follow-on? Do we need to read this?
No.
Yeah, I'd like that. No way. I'm good.
I mean, not no way, but I think.
I don't know.
I'm the books that I read. I want them to be good.
Okay.
Infamously, I didn't even read 1984 because
you didn't.
Didn't want to read it, man. It was just tedious.
Winston.
Good old Winston. And but I don't want to read things unless I want to read it. And so I don't know that this novel is worth that. Like,
all right.
And I do want to read A Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
Clockwork Orange, Anthony Burgess. Good old Antonio Burgess. So
I give him 2 dings.
2 dings. And we can also watch. I think we should do a double movie and novel for that because they're Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Anthony Burgess. It's such a trippy. And anyway.
It's the trippiest.
I think we should do a series. Right. We've never done that before, I don't think. We do little runs of a certain kind of, like we did the Animal House and all the party movies.
Those were fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, college.
Good old college.
Yeah. I did that twice.
You had 2 bachelor's degrees, and you know what? If 1 bachelor's degree is good, 2 is better.
Better.
Anyway, I didn't.
You can't say the same about masters and PhDs.
No, having 2 PhDs. I don't know. You can. You can say the same about anything.
No, but in that it's not good.
If 1 fentanyl is good, 2 is even better.
I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah.
You might be onto something there, Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've looked into that.
That's right.
Let's see. In my notes, gross stuff is gross.
Yeah.
I don't remember what was gross, but I thought it was.
There was.
I got some annoyances with the
stuff
third,
there. Yeah, go
third
ahead.
act.
All right.
They're now understanding the critters. More than that, they can tell them apart.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, no. Like that's the same critter.
Yeah, but I mean you're complaining about that.
I know.
But you're not complaining about that they figured out how to
talk like the critters,
learn their language, and also build a translation machine.
There was a translation.
Yeah, and they built it really
Me as
fast.
the tech guy, I'm like, no, definitely that could happen.
Yeah,
even
but
though
that
it definitely could not.
that fast?
No, not at all.
That was.
I suspended my belief in that part of the reality.
That's where the movie was getting like Brazil. Like you just go, okay, the whole world is run by ducts and ductwork.
Right.
That's okay. That's absurd, but I'm going with it.
But we weren't there with this movie.
I don't think the movie was that way until the end. It started just becoming that way, and to me,
it was so close.
That's unfair.
It was so close.
It was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I like going to the movies.
I love going to the movies.
Sitting down in the movie.
Yeah.
A tall, those cans of Lagunitas All Day IPA.
I think it was just the Lagunitas IPA. All Day is Founders.
Okay. Oh, Founders. You're right. So this one had like actual alcohol in it.
6.7% or something like that.
And it's just like not just a tall boy.
It's a giant
It's a
one.
fucking NBA center tall boy.
Yeah, it is. A silo, I think is what we call this in Iowa.
And I think that I was kind of like done with my beer before the movie actually started. There was so many commercials.
You were done with your beer?
Kind of close.
Oh, wow, I wasn't.
Kind of close.
Mine made it a while.
Oh, man, I wanted to have another, but I had to be,
And it was a long movie. Neither one of us peed.
No, I had to.
Pretty good for a couple of middle-aged guys.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Saying.
Well, I have a bleacher buddy, so.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Nice, nice bag of piss strapped to your ankle.
I'm gonna go ahead and pee right on my ankle, basically.
So I don't know. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
It was so close.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I.
You want to go 3 out of 5? 2 out of 5?
I already did. So our social.
How many out of 5 bottles?
Our social media director has signed us up for a thing. Garza has signed us up for something called Letterboxd. You know what that is?
No.
It's a social media thing for film. And so now the Moon Underwater has
we say film.
Has a what?
I said we say film. We don't say movie. We like to say film.
We do.
We're just classy.
Elevated.
Bartok.
Yep. So, but Letterboxd is a kind of a Reddit for movies, or something like that. It's all, and you rate movies and you write reviews. So I already rated this one.
Oh.
I'm going to have to write somewhere that my opinions are mine and not like yours.
Not mine. Yeah.
But I think I gave it 3 out of 5.
I'd go 2.
2 out of 5, less than half.
2.5.
2.5.
No, yeah. It was.
I gave 2.5 to The Hitcher.
I started at 90. I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah.
And it just kind of,
So I gave it 3 because I did enjoy the beginning.
It was
and
so good.
And I got a little impatient toward the end, but I didn't hate it. But yeah, between 2 and 3.
I might have
2.5.
I might have been up. Here you go. Last note on this page. Dragging. ... All right. I didn't remember.
It was definitely dragging.
It was dragging.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wrote that.
No, I did not write that. I could have. That would have been clever of me. Writing notes when you're not looking, write notes onto your.
I have early on, because you had mentioned a review that said it was like a Trump thing.
Yeah.
And
it was somebody named Sonny Bunch. I don't know. That's just
early on
the
I
reviewer.
wrote, not really Trump.
No, he didn't seem like it. And I was actually happy that, I think that guy may have been overdoing it.
Me too.
But then at the end,
and
I'm
then
like,
all of a sudden, ready? Okay, obnoxiously Trump. That's what those were in my notes.
It was too much. I didn't want to. I didn't go to that movie to get an episode of the news.
I don't. Yeah,
you know
what
I mean?
It. I don't need it. Yeah.
We were getting enough of that outside, and that's also when you're at the bar. I don't really want the news.
Nah.
They do show the news at this bar.
Sometimes.
It's got
Wheels on right now though.
I think they just put it on NBC and whatever's on.
Fair.
Is
I grew up with Lester Holt in Chicago.
Yeah.
So he was on in Chicago. Sure. So, I go with him.
He's not offensive or anything like that. So I don't know. It seems like we're winding down.
Yeah,
Anything else we got?
Nothing.
I guess not.
I got nothing.
Let's go ahead and hit this outro music and all right.
Ding the bell just one more time.
One more time. We're going to have to come up with a little outro script to kind of give credit to everybody and tell people to send us an email at the guys
at the Moon Underwater Pubcast.
At the Moon Underwater Pubcast, and follow us on all our many socials now.
Yeah.
And what else? They should give us a 5-star review or rating and positive review on Apple Podcast and Spotify and wherever else. I listen to my podcasts on something called Podcast Addict.
Oh.
I just like the interface of it. I don't like Spotify because it just wants to sell me music or get, it's just it's a music platform with a podcast side hustle.
Look at all the stuff you can have for free.
Yeah.
Right over here.
Yeah.
Podcast. Yeah. All right. Cool.
So, all right. See y'all. Catch you next time.